I was watching your show yesterday, KG, and it's funny because like, obviously we've had a lot of rivalry and a lot of banter back and forth. But yesterday, it felt like, and not just with you, because I watch quite a few creators who are Man United fans, there was a penny dropping moment of like, even if we win the Europa League, even if we get back into the Champions League, does that really make a difference? Like, we're so far gone that even that is like, it's not like belief anymore in Amorim. It's more just hope. It's like, am I right?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. And I think some fans are turning as well. Like, unfortunately, he's not going to get the Ten Hag special of taking a 7-0, taking like all the stuff that Ten Hag dealt with. When you used to, I always remember them episodes, you'd be like, why are you backing this guy? 7-0 to Liverpool. What's wrong with you lot? Why are they all still standing with Ten Hag, this, that, and the other? Unfortunately, Amorim's not going to get that same level of rope when it comes to this. And like, we're a team. He said that the press conference yesterday was probably the most worrying I've ever seen from him, because he sounded kind of Conte-ish. You know, when Conte spoke about, like, if they sack me, if they get rid of me, Conte kind of was in that space. And I feel like he's in a space of, I want to fix this, but even I don't understand what's wrong. So if it continues like this, maybe we walk out and they get someone else in. That's the kind of vibe. That's kind of how he broke it
definitely, down. Him mentioning that is a massive red flag. The minute a manager ever mentions them being sacked and them sounding okay with it, that's when you know, like, mentally they're like, I knew this was a hard job, but this is so fucked that I actually don't mind if you sack me at the end of the season. And that's what I was getting from it. Some of the quotes, for those who haven't heard it, I feel embarrassed when looking at the Premier League table. For me, it doesn't matter if we win the Europa League, because the problems are much bigger than that, which I think he's acknowledging, like, winning the Europa League will just paper over the cracks here. Like, I haven't fixed anything, really. Yeah. And that's his job. Further quotes were, we are not scared of losing a game as Manchester United. We don't have that fear anymore, and that is the most dangerous thing that a big club can have. And he's right. Like, the culture, the losing culture that has crept in is unbelievable. And when you look at the stats as well, and this, I picked these up as quick as I could, so they might not be 100% accurate, but if results against the 3 relegated teams were removed from the Premier League, and I guess those relegated teams were removed as well, I think it means Man United would be bottom of the table.
We have a 1 in 5.
23 points from a possible 87 against the 16 non-relegated teams this season.
Wow.
That's the thing that's dawning on us. And especially when you get a result like that against West Ham, who, like, because the excuse for Amorim, the best excuse is, it's not his team. Graham Potter's fucking not got his team, has he? He's just fucking rocked up, and he's all, and they're doing olays at Old Trafford. Like, something's massively wrong here, and it's not Amorim's fault entirely, but it's not going well.
Do you know what? There's a point about reputation management if you're Amorim, right? He's an up-and-coming coach with a very sort of, I suppose, forward-looking future. He's got the opportunity to manage at the best clubs in the world, really. That's his sort of like potential. Not saying that he will necessarily, but that's his potential. And so if he stays at Man United, he's got to think, is his reputation going to be tarnished forever? Like, you only get one career in management, don't you? You only get one sort of stab at it. And if he doesn't start turning things around with Man United, it's his personal career that will be worried. So I don't really blame him for what he said in the press conference.
I do. I'm on. Sorry, KG. I'm on the other side of it, because what I don't understand is, this is your. You haven't even been there that long, right? You took this job. No one forced you to take this job. I know Man United fans say, oh, well, they gave him an ultimatum. You either take it now or you don't get it in the future. Regardless, no one forced him to take this job. He wanted this opportunity. He knew the players they had. He knew the problems at Man United, because Ronaldo was vocal about it when he was there. Jose was vocal about it. Other people that have been there and left over the years have been vocal about the bigger problems at Man United. And he still signed the contract and took that job. Now, these are not his players. I believe a lot of Man United fans, even if you say they are turning on him, the ones with a bit of logic will give him at least the beginning of next season, a summer to sign his own players, and then see what he can implement throughout the preseason. So for him to jump out the window now and start making these comments, one before a final, doesn't do anyone any good, in my opinion. Like, why say that before a final? Or even if we win the final, it doesn't change things. This is the comments he's making before a final, to me, just doesn't make any sense. Second of all, bro, these aren't your players. So you're going to get that leeway. Whereas like someone like Ange, these are mainly his players. So he's not going to get the same leeway that Amorim's going to get for this travesty of a season. Like, how many months has he been here? Like 5?
November 1st was when he signed on.
Do you know what it is? It's like that fighter. It's like that boxer that faces a loss and they don't know what to say. They're never on code. You hear it with Tyson Fury, I won. No man born of his. You'll have these guys that as winners, they can't deal with, I'm a loser now. So he's spiraling and he can't give his press conferences. He's always giving press conferences as a winner. So that job's a bit easier. Now he's in a situation. But even though he doesn't know he's too honest. He's keeping it way too real. Bro, don't say what you're saying, because for the first time, you scared me yesterday with that. If they told me to like that walk talk, that was scary. That's like someone saying, if I don't win this fight, I'm going to retire. There's little things that you hear that you're like, oh, you're sounding shaky.
He sounds like he's breaking under the pressure.
Sounds like a quitter. That's what he sounds like.
You talk about quitter is a very interesting word there, because you talked last week, Craig, about managers who are cracking. And that was the thing of like, it's an interesting analogy from KG to use the fighter analogy. We see fighters who are on top fighters. They're good when they're the hammer. They're terrible at being the nail. I think that's what we're looking at in Amorim, right? And it's not that he's not a good manager potentially, but some managers can't do what Eddie Howe did in Newcastle, where he took over a club facing relegation, 19, no wins in 7 games or whatever it was. Like, not everyone can do that and come through adversity that way. They need better circumstances to take over. And I think he is so out of his comfort zone in battling basically relegation unofficially. Like, if you look at previous seasons, 38 and 39 points are what Spurs and Man United are on right now. West Ham got relegated on 42 points. You know, I think Newcastle, Man United have lost 17 games this season. Newcastle lost 18 games and got relegated. Do you know what I mean? Man United are a relegation battle inside. It's just the PSR has worked so brilliantly to kill any club who comes into this league that they've saved Spurs and Man United this season, essentially the Premier League rules. But
I think they would have found a gear. They would have found a gear to not get relegated. I think that's probably what some of the issues right now. The fact that they know that it's over, they're doing nonsense. Like, I wasn't surprised. Look at Spurs' game and our game. Is there a difference? These guys are being idiots and just waiting for the final to turn it on. I'm just happy that we're playing with 2 terrible sides waiting for one game to save themselves. That's what we're doing. But then
that game's only become real in the last few weeks, right? Like, obviously the whole season is evidence that there's a lack of ability to battle against hardship in both of those sides. But what I'm worried about more so is, like, at least Big Ange sort of tries to protect his players, and he says things where he blames, fixture pile-up, whatever. He does what he can, right? And I don't even rate Big Ange. But Amorim looks so defeated that it's like, the difference is Big Ange isn't going to be here next season, and he probably fucking knows that. Amorim has got to go somewhere after this, and I think, and he said, he's like, well, how the fuck do I? How do I reinstill an ability to manage games out, to make sure we start fast enough? I'm gonna need a whole fucking squad.
5 or 6 players.
It's partly his fault as well, though, because if we go back to like November when he first got the job.
And now a word from our sponsors. If you want to watch live sport from around the world, no matter where you are, including those 3 p.m. kickoffs, Surfshark is the VPN for you. And when you click the link in the description below, you will get 4 months extra for free. Now, using a VPN online is basically like putting your pants on before you go out the door, right? Everything you want to keep private stays private. And Surfshark can change your virtual location in just 1 click. Whether you're wanting to watch US Netflix, or boxing in Vegas, or the UFC in Dubai, or English football at 3 p.m. on a Saturday, whatever you want, you can view it all with Surfshark. Surfshark can also mask your IP, and your traffic is encrypted, so all of your personal info stays private. And you can log into all your devices with just 1 subscription description, which is very handy. So what you're waiting for, scan the QR code on screen now or click the link in the description below and go to surfshark.com/kickoff and you can get 4 extra months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. But for now, enjoy the video.
He was the one that started the mind games with his own players to begin with. When he started saying this is the worst Man United team ever. And he was trying to make these little comments, I believe at the time, to maybe get a response out of the players. And we said at the time it was a risky tactic. He rolled the dice on it and it doesn't look like it's worked. Like it became evident to a lot of the players. There's a lot of aging players in that team, Eriksen, Casemiro in their midfield. It became evident to a lot of them that they don't have a future at this club. So once you start knowing that, and then the manager starts throwing you under the bus as well, it's like, are you going to run through brick walls?
You can't do that. And this is what I'm talking about the tools for the job. Amorim is not made for this kind of job in the slightest. I'm not saying you can't manage at a top level, but not for this job. This isn't a top level job anymore.
No,
it used to be.
We're doing it again.
Eddie Howe, for example, when he's got players who are totally shit, and I've named and shamed them, he always speaks about them in the kindest way. They've all got I would love to give them a longer contract. I want to keep them here. He doesn't want to keep them there. I've got no doubt he'd want to get rid of them. It's all about the psychology of understanding how to keep players motivated even when things are going hard. Amorim has shown he hasn't got a fucking clue how to do that.
I would disagree a little bit on the thing of protecting players, because he has protected them. He's saying, because he's talked about himself. He said, I'm the biggest disappointment. He's called himself the worst. He's come out and said, when he's speaking about United, but he's just too honest. Like, there's players that deserve it. Like, they tried to single out Ugarte for a mistake that was made. He didn't track back. He lost the ball and there was no energy to win the ball back. And they wanted to signal out this player. He said, yeah, absolutely not. See, he's not throwing his players under the bus. He's throwing himself under the bus and saying
he has definitely said things, though. He has said things. I know you're saying fair enough on that occasion. You might be right, but on too many other occasions, I've also seen him not defending the players. Yeah, well, he's done Rashford there. He
said he'd rather play as the guy that's got the limp than play Rashford, and that's crazy.
Worst Man United team ever. A quote that we've never heard from a manager in the history of the Premier League. Who says that?
Well, we are.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
He's not built for this job, mate.
Well, we are. The issue is there's stuff that's been, and we were saying this under Ten Hag about how bad it's been and how can a Man United manager be in a situation. There is the club, the foundation of the club, and even when you go back, I quickly thinking, I mention this a lot of times when we're here, but Berbatov, Tevez, Rooney, when he got that kind of thing in the strike force, and now our strike force is literally Rasmus Højlund and Chido that we stolen from Arsenal. That's crazy. You lot wouldn't start them. Newcastle, none of you lot starting these guys.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Some of the tools he's got are fucking disgraceful, and I completely agree with that, and I support him on that. But here's what you don't do when you're up against it in the way that he is. You don't come on and go, I'm only going to play this one way, and that's it. Because you have not got the champagne, budget here. You've got certain players, and you've got to make, when you're up against it, you have to make the best with the shit that you've got. And this again shows he completely miscalculated this whole situation. He may be able to sort that out in the summer. He may be able to go away and go, fuck me, I've learned so much from that job that one year. I'm going to be better next year. I'm going to be a bit more fluid about it. But when you're up against it, I can't believe the attitude that he's had. And I think he totally has misread this situation in as big a way as a manager can, in fact. And also, I respect Man United fans for supporting him, but
we only got hope. It's a hope thing, though. It's definitely hope.
We're not in the honesty era, though. That's another thing. See, in football, I don't feel like we're in the... And when I say we're not in the honesty era, I mean, yes, internally with your players and staff and everyone, you should be honest and get points across and be upfront. But I think this era of football nowadays, we've seen it with Jose Mourinho, being honest about your players to the public, it doesn't really work. You got to keep things in-house. You got to be, in this day and age, players are very, then you got to wrap them in cotton wool a bit more. You got to be a bit more empathetic. Look, Josh, you shake his head. I know, I'm with you, Josh. I don't agree with it. I feel like we should be, no, I agree with you. Like, I feel like we should be able to, listen, I'm in my 30s. I'm from the era of call them out, drag them, deal with it. Be a man. Like, you're not even allowed to say that anymore. Be a man, right? I'm from that era, but in this era now, you have to kind of play mental gymnastics with these players, understand them a bit more. You have to be a bit smart with how you talk and stuff like that. And the managers that are good at that and understand that are the ones that are actually getting success right now. Like, you can see Arnie slots like that. You could see Klopp was like, you could see the players that understand that are thriving.
The time to judge it, Craig, is when the chips are down, and that's where the real genius psychologist managers can take you from low to high in the league. And that's the thing about Pep Guardiola. What would he be like in this scenario? I bet he'd fucking struggle like fuck, actually, because certain managers aren't suited to this kind of job. And I think it should make a lot of these managers have a bit more respect for how hard it is to be a fucking David Moyes or whoever. Do you know what I mean? It isn't easy.
Things got rocky for Pep this season, though.
Yeah.